All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what I know and tell me what I'm missing. So there was a big arrest on Simone here at the tuner shop.
Super terrorist.
I know that. Yeah, I know all about it. Knight talked to me about him a long time ago. So you guys then organize a prison transport. It gets intercepted, ambushed, whatnot, big shootout, pow pow, big guns, explosives, whatever. I vaguely saw and skimmed 3 search warrants for people whose like DNA was found as a result of that shootout, right? So those 3, for me, I just contributed very briefly to the other judges and said that's a slam dunk for me. If you're breaking out a terrorist or prison transport and your DNA is all over the ground next to bullet casings, then your shit should get searched. So no problem there for me. Then I saw something about a surveillance warrant for the 6-star tuner shop, which made sense to me because private property, typically you can't set up cameras or nothing. But in this case, given the allegation that they were like involved with his escape, given the articulation about the people involved or whatever, makes sense to me. Get surveillance, do your investigation. I was expecting probably like subpoenas on all the people you were also searching. Brian's done this a lot, so you start uncovering the web and all that. To my understanding, then there was also a search warrant for the tuner shop, and this is where it gets a little murky. So for businesses, my perspective is that typically, if like, let's say we arrest someone dealing meth on the corner, and you want to search all their shit to find like more meth, that makes sense to me. It's like 1-to-1, right? We got rid of the key issue, so we've kind of eliminated the idea of like all the chain rating and the different people involved. It's like if you get caught dealing meth, we're gonna check all your shit. If you get caught dealing meth, we're gonna check all your shit for more meth. Makes sense to me. With businesses, it's tricky because typically the logic of like 51 versus 49% of is there evidence of the crime in this location? Well, when it's a business and there's like hundreds of employees potentially, the idea of rating the business because there's an allegation of involvement of one person, it starts creating this sort of like chain where I don't know if we want to daisy chain the connections like that to where this person was alleged to be involved in the breakout of a person who's suspected for a bunch of crimes. So we're going to raid the business that person works at, because that was where the person who ultimately was sought for arrest was seen and found. I get the idea behind it. I'm just not sure that we should be
It's not an
signing that right
allegation,
off
though.
the
It's a
bat.
fact.
Understood. I'm just speaking in generalizations. Don't read too much into my wording. I'm not sure we should be signing that right off the bat. I think the subpoenas and the surveillance probably should be enacted first. I think we should develop those connections that are alleged, meaning the involvement here from like Marshall, for example, and then proceed to searching it if we can find something from the subpoenas and from the surveillance that points us to, the involvement of him or people specifically using this for that purpose. I think it being a general public hub, it's tough to leap to the idea that there would be things stashed here. I mean, it's equally as likely, like it's kind of and this might begin to the weeds a little bit. Have you ever heard the theory of like, people talking about like the probability behind God existing or not? It's kind of like, it's not a binary solution of is God real or not. There's a question of is my God real or the Hindu God or the fire God on top of the mountain? So it's not really a question of yes or no. It's a question of, are you going to pick one thing out of all the possible scenarios? So when we're talking about probabilities of 51 versus 49%, are we really talking about whether or not things could be in the tuner shop or not? Or are we talking about this person who has access to the tuner shop could also stash things in a warehouse or their house or anywhere else? And so then we need to establish, are we going to just allow you to search everything that person touches, and does that?
But that's not why we're searching it, though.
Yeah. So what what you're saying, I think we hear that loud and clear, and I don't think we would have pushed
Yeah,
the warrant.
yeah, exactly. We hear you loud and clear on all that shit, but that's not anywhere close as to why we deemed it necessary to submit a warrant.
Okay, so what was the articulation for the tuner shop stash specifically? Because you got to remember, I literally just came into this on the tail end.
Why don't you take this, Knight? You're more articulate.
So we're talking about a small time frame in which Michael Simone was captured at the tuner shop, immediately brought to Bob Smith PD, and then shortly thereafter
Multiple
transported...
people around, by the way, tuner shop employees not really caring. It seems like this guy was here without a fear in the world. Was he even armed?
No.
Wasn't even armed, so he's just hanging out here.
Mary Mushkin, one of the head managers at the place, was present. She witnessed the arrest. In fact, did some what I would say even obstructable offenses, driving up onto the top of the tuner shop at one point as well after being given multiple lawful orders. No one else witnessed this transport, both to Bob Smith PD and then subsequently down to Bolingbrook Penitentiary.
Immediately they were on us as well. Immediately they had people scouting us out that were involved.
That's right. It was about, I'd say about
10 minutes.
10 minutes after he was placed in the jail cells. We had a tuner car, which I think it actually ended up being AP. It was the same vehicle.
Yep, the gray Subaru, which was the one that was right next to our gates, that fled from us as well.
It was waiting there. In fact, it was called over radio multiple times, and the only reason we did not detain them is that we did not have a detainable reason at that time. Right? Simply being outside Bob Smith PD is not like illegal. So then we get ambushed by 6, 8, 10 assailants with explosives and whatnot. Now, from that point,
unknown amount of people who ambushed us. We should say that unknown. Then, shootout ends. Simone's out in custody. We've got 2 people bring down to the Paleto Bay Sheriff's Office. We're talking about a time frame about what would you say, like an hour and a half?
I would say, yeah, roughly an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think that pretty much encompasses everything.
Now, during the moment, we are in the midst. We already have seen Mr. AP on the tuner shop books at this point, and this is so now the window is even smaller. We're not talking about an hour and a half, 2 hours. We're talking about a window of less than an hour where he is on the books. Now he's in custody, and now all of a sudden he's off the books. So I think that is, there's probable cause to believe that they tried to get him off the books in order to not only get raided, but to also close, to destroy evidence. And it's unprompted, given the fact that AP has been working here for some time. He's a prominent member of the tuner shop. And to unpromptly just fire the guy is a clear cover-up.
So I can, let me,
sorry.
There was a conclusion to this, right, Crane? And that was the fact that the officers here don't have the ability to actually lock down the business while they investigate and get a search, which means they have to take leaps on their warrants, like the one that was signed, to ensure that they get there fast before everyone clears it out, right?
So
the issue here is the...
What? Sorry, I want to boil this down because we're in the weeds on a whole lot here, and I kind of have a basic question. What is the articulation that anything was stashed here?
I mean, the sheer amount of weapons thrown at us was short of fighting a small army armed with RPGs, grenades.
Okay, so is the articulation DMRs here that like everyone at the tuner shop is involved in this like massive conspiracy of turning a blind eye to like explosives and high-powered weapons?
I mean, that might actually be a stretch because he was here, and they turned their blind eye to that.
Yeah, might I add, we caught AP, Adam Peterson. During this entire ordeal, the entire shootout, he was in contact with individuals that basically are higher-ups here on several different occasions.
We have several phone calls as well that are going to come up.
None of this is in the warrant.
Yeah,
No, you're telling us so much right now that isn't in the warrant. That's the issue.
He's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you
to
are right
answer-
on
Not
that.
wrong. Yeah.
Crane, to focus on the he was at the tuner shop. We believe that he was being harbored here. That is our belief. When he was being detained, we note Mary Mushkin. AP was also here. I believe that's also in the warrant. And then subsequently,
The
in
warrant's
this short
written
period
well.
of time, AP is
You
one
saw the
of
warrant.
many
I showed you guys
assailants
the warrant. The warrant is written
attempting
well.
to get him out of custody shortly thereafter. He is
Cooper did a
removed from the
fantastic
books.
job.
I think that picture right there, I think, frames enough probable cause. In my belief, I understand there may be disagreements here, that the tuner shop or management in the tuner shop was not only harboring, but may have some of said weaponry that was used, given that some of these suspects got away.
I don't wish to interrupt.
I just
but,
like you mentioned Mary Mushkin there, and Mary Mushkin
Yeah, I don't. What
doesn't
happened
even
there? What-
appear in the warrant, I don't think.
You said Mary Mushkin, and then you just kind of trailed off. What is that? What did she do?
Was Mary not in the warrant? Sorry, give me a sec.